Everybody, I've been given the opportunity to share these verses from Colossians chapter 3 verses 22 to 24. I'll read from the ESV. Bondservants, obey in everything those who are your earthly masters, not by way of eye service as people pleasers, but with sincerity of heart fearing the Lord. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ. Now these verses make up part of the longest injunction in Colossians, which continues on until chapter 4 verse 1. The who being addressed here is both the slaves and masters within the household of God. This isn't surprising, as both Onesimus and Philemon, his master, are both from Colossus. This reading has nothing to do with the morality of slavery, but everything to do with how we conduct ourselves as we walk as brothers and sisters in this life. A sobering thought here is that this instruction is more directed to the slave than the master, and there is good reason for that. Christianity was already turning the ancient world on its head. To paraphrase Paul from earlier in this letter, there is neither Jew nor Greek, nor slave nor free. This newfound Christian license could well create complete social disorder in a society where the head of the house had the power of life and death. Now, in my reading of these verses, there is a strongly inferred message for the modern reader, and that is that we all need to know our place, and we ought not to think too highly of ourselves. In this day of people's rights, we don't like to hear that type of message. But this is one aspect of working out our salvation with fear and trembling. At the risk of preaching to the converted, we are all servants and we all serve our masters. It is not our earthly masters that we will give an account to. It is he who sees everything and knows everything that we will answer to. It is a mistake to think we are home and hosed or that it shall be right, as a message of endurance permeates all of Paul's writings. These verses are all about attitude and perspective. We do need to remember who we are and who we serve, and try to be aware of what our true motivations are. God knows the innermost thoughts of our heart and what our true motivations really are. Paul's choice of the word inheritance here would have struck a chord with his readers, as first century slaves could not only not inherit earthly possessions, but their own had total control over their earthly destinies. What are we to take from this? We need to seek his will and his purposes in our lives. And how do we know this? We know this by spending time with him and in his word. And as most commentators write, the words, the inheritance, is not just about reward.